For 6.5 years, he played the grieving husband, the trembling voice on television, the tears that arrived on cue. "Please, just come home," he begged the cameras. Reporters comforted him, neighbors prayed with him, the country believed him. But every time he walked down those stairs, his shoes clicked against the concrete that hit her. His missing wife wasn't missing at all. She was right there, beneath his feet. And each desperate plea to bring her home was delivered while he stood on her grave. Tina Satchwell, born Tina Dingaan, November 30th, 1972, Fermoy, County Cork. Petite at 5'4", blonde shoulder-length hair, striking blue eyes. A Tweety bird tattoo on her chest. A belly button piercing her friends knew well. People called her bright, bubbly, beautiful. But, like many who appear luminous on the surface, she carried complicated roots. She was raised by her grandmother, Florence Dingaan, believing Florence was her mother until the day she needed her birth certificate for confirmation. That's when she discovered the truth. The woman she thought was her sister, Mary Collins, was actually her biological mother. It hurt, but it didn't shake her devotion to the grandmother who had raised her. Tina had a passion for clothes and an expensive eye. Upstairs, she kept racks of outfits, some with tags still on. She loved buying and reselling at car boot sales across County Cork. Those days weren't just about bargains. They were about community, friendly faces, casual chatter, and the joy of being perfectly put together, sometimes even matching outfits with her Chihuahua, Ruby. Ruby, another Chihuahua named Heidi, and a parrot called Valentine were the children Tina never had. She adored animals. From childhood, cats and dogs trailed her through Fermoy as if they were drawn to her. She swam, loved the beach, and was pulled to Youghal's coast when she and her husband Richard Satchwell moved there in May 2016. Beneath the bubbly exterior, Tina was shy and private. Her doctor of nearly 20 years described her as open, friendly, a great communicator, healthy, with no psychiatric diagnosis, and nothing that might cut her life short. She carried grief, though. Her brother Tom died by suicide in 2012. Ruby was purchased in 2014 to help Tina cope. She met Richard on March 3rd, 1989 in Colville near Leicester. She was 17, he was 22. Richard told his brother he'd marry her. He called Tina his trophy wife, out of his league, his beautiful Irish rose. He proposed that October, overlooking Youghal Bay. They married on Tina's 20th birthday, November 30th, 1991, in Oldham, England. The romance came with a wall. Richard's family was anti-Irish. They gave him an ultimatum, them or Tina. He chose Tina. None of his relatives came to the wedding. He never spoke to his mother again. It looked like devotion. It was also the first brick in a long, slow isolation. Richard, a lorry driver from Leicester, was, by his own account, obsessed. He claimed he worshipped Tina, drew her baths every evening, toweled her off, oiled her skin, pedicured her feet. What sounded like adoration concealed something darker. Tina's half-sister Lorraine Howard would later describe him as obsessive, possessive, controlling, odd. He criticized Tina's friends until there were none left. He wanted to know where she was at all times. Tina confided that she felt trapped. If she left, he'd follow her to the ends of the earth. They moved from England to Fermoy in the early 90s. In 2016, they sold their Fermoy home and bought 3 Grattan Street, Youghal, for €52,000. The move pulled Tina even farther from her community. In Youghal, she was barely known, rarely seen without Richard. Money was tight. They lived on social welfare benefits, with Richard listed as Tina's dependent. The joint account was constantly overdrawn. Richard had 14 prior convictions from 1999 to 2004. Larceny, social welfare fraud, theft, public order offenses. In 2002, he spent a month in Cork prison for fraud. Sunday, March 19, 2017. Tina and Richard visited a car boot sale in Youghal, about 35 kilometers from Youghal. Tina was happy. She bought a black jacket, a dress, perfume. She joked with friend John Keoghan, who teased that she might meet another man. Tina shut it down. "I have one man only. I love him so much." Those were the last words anyone outside her home ever heard her say. 4 days passed. Friday, March 24th. Richard drove 43 kilometers past his local station to Fairmoy Garda Station to report Tina missing. He told Garda Connor Gately that she'd left on Monday and he'd waited because he assumed she needed time to get her head straight. He thought she'd gone to family. Richard's story was neat. He made breakfast around 9:20 a.m. Tea, toast, fruit with yogurt. Tina asked him to drive to Aldi in Dungarvan for fish and parrot food. He left around 10 or 10:30, returned around noon, and Tina was gone, with 2 suitcases and 26,000 euros from a box in the attic. The report didn't trigger a full missing person investigation. It was treated as a left-home query. Not until May 11, 2017, did Richard file a formal report, handing over photographs for national appeals. What followed was extraordinary. From June 2017 through March 2018, Richard became a media regular. 14 recorded interviews across national TV, radio, and newspapers. RTE, Crime Call, Prime Time, Virgin Media, News, Ireland AM, Cork's Red FM, any microphone would do. The most memorable moment came July 25, 2017, on Crime Call. Tearful, looking down the lens, he pleaded, "Tina, come home. Nobody's mad at you. My arms are open. The pets miss you. I can't go on not knowing." He insisted he'd never lifted a finger to her. He offered to take a lie detector test, then declined when it was actually arranged live on radio, saying he felt unwell. Underneath the TV tears, his behavior turned practical, coldly so. March 30th, 2017, just 10 days after Tina vanished, he texted her cousin Sarah Howard offering a chest freezer. Next day, he advertised it online. Large chest freezer, free to take away. Working perfect, just needs a clean. By late April, early May, he was selling Tina's clothes and accessories at car boot sales, the very places she'd loved. Asked where she was, he spun lies. She'd gone to England for treatment. She was terribly ill. She had a respiratory condition. She'd lost 4 stone. The black jacket and dress she bought the final Sunday were found hanging over a door, unworn. June 7th, 2017. Gardaí executed a search warrant at 3 Grattan Street. Sergeant John Shy suspected something criminal had occurred. The warrant was specific. Tina may be injured or incapacitated. 10 Gardaí spent around 12 hours searching. Photos documented the house. New, unpainted stairs, fresh plasterboard on the side, and a new red brick wall beneath the stairwell. Forensic scientist Dr. Edward Connolly used luminol to test for blood. Nothing glowed. Not in the living room, not on the stairs, not in Richard's car. Without blood, there was no obvious violence. They seized a laptop and phones. What they didn't do would become haunting. They didn't break through the concrete under the stairs, didn't bring a cadaver dog, didn't excavate. The home was filthy, dog feces on floors and furniture, unwashed dishes, a long neglected bird cage. Over the next months, searches widened across County Cork. August 19th, 2017, harbor and scrubland sweeps. March 2018, Mitchell's Wood, Castle Martyr, 60 Gardaí, Army engineers, cadaver dogs, 2 weeks, a no-fly zone, nothing. The case generated 400-plus lines of inquiry, 170 witness statements, 100 hours of CCTV, 60 to 65 reported sightings in Ireland and abroad, all negative. It looked like the investigation was dissolving. August 2021, a new senior investigating officer, Superintendent Anne-Marie Toomey, Incident Room Coordinator, Detective Garda Dave Kelleher, fresh team, fresh start. They reread everything, every witness statement, every tip, every video frame. And critically, they finally examined the seized digital devices. The laptop from 2017 had sat unexamined for years. Late 2021, Kelleher opened it. On Friday, March 24th, 2017, the very day Richard reported Tina missing, at 9:08 p.m., someone searched quicklime, then watched a YouTube video titled "Quicklime and Water Reaction." Twice. Quicklime has legitimate building uses. It's also used historically to accelerate decomposition and suppress odor in mass burials. In February 2022, mobile phone extractions delivered the second crack in the wall. CCTV at Youghal post office showed Richard collecting social welfare at 11:10 a.m. on March 20, not in Dungarvan as he'd claimed. Phone location data put him back at home immediately, staying there from about 11:10 to 12:50. That 100-minute window obliterated his alibi. He had been home precisely when he said he was shopping. Investigators now believe Tina was dead, via unlawful means, as Toomey later put it. But they had no body. So, in September 2022, Toomey commissioned Dr. Niev Makula, forensic archaeologist specializing in concealed burials, to review the entire file. Her report, submitted September 2023, became the turning point. She noted research on domestic homicide. Offenders often fabricate missing person narratives. Female victims are typically disposed close to home, often within 1 kilometer. She flagged the structural changes photographed in 2017. New stairs, fresh plasterboard, a red brick wall under the stairwell, red flags. Her recommendation? Invasive search using ground-penetrating radar and cadaver dogs. October 10th, 2023, evening, Garda E rolled up to 3 Grattan Street with contractors, excavators, forensic tents. At 5 p.m., they arrested Richard Satchwell on suspicion of murder. Inside, the search team brought in a cadaver dog team. The dog, a Springer Spaniel named Fern, showed immediate interest under the stairs. Detective Garda Brian Barry, ballistics and forensics, examined the brickwork. It looked like someone who didn't know how to build walls had built it. Floodlights up. The team peeled back 1970s linoleum. Underneath, a rectangular patch of concrete, newer, a different color. At 9 p.m. on October 11th, they put a jackhammer through it. About 64 centimeters down, they struck black plastic sheeting. Excavation paused. The forensic archaeologist took over. The next morning, a human hand came into view. At 11:30 a.m., October 12th, Assistant State Pathologist Dr. Margot Bolster arrived. By noon, Richard Satchwell was rearrested, this time at a bus stop in Youghal, and charged that evening with murder. When the charge was read, he answered cryptically, "Guilty or not guilty." The remains went to Cork University Hospital. October 13th, 2023. Dental records from Tina's Fairmoy dentist confirmed what everyone already knew. The body under the stairs, there for 2,396 days, was Tina Satchwell. Her Tweety Bird tattoo was still visible. In the left pocket of her dressing gown, her wallet, public service card, shop loyalty cards. Once Tina was found, Richard's narrative changed. He told Garda E he'd come in from the garden shed and found Tina at the bottom of the stairs, scraping plasterboard with a chisel. He said she flew at him, trying to stab his head. He fell backward, Tina on top of him. To defend himself, he grabbed the belt of her dressing gown and held it at her neck. Within seconds, he said, she got heavier, then went limp. He claimed he cradled her for 20 to 30 minutes while their dogs Ruby and Heidi licked her. He laid her on the couch for a day or two. When the dogs kept going to her body, he moved her to the chest freezer in the garden shed, March 22nd or 23rd. The freezer was unplugged. He said he used it for storage. Then, he said, he started digging under the stairs, working like a robot, hands bleeding from light to dark. The grave was unusually deep for a clandestine burial, 64 to 84 centimeters in sandy soil. On Sunday, March 26, 2017, Mother's Day, he said he retrieved Tina's body from the freezer, wrapped her in black plastic sheeting, the same sheeting they used at boot sales, and buried her face down. She wore her pajamas with the dressing gown. The belt was wrapped in an odd position, over the left side of her neck, under her right shoulder and arm, under her body, and knotted on her chest, not threaded through the loops. He said he wanted to bury her with dignity, planned to buy roses, but could only find tulips and threw them into the grave. None were found. He said he placed her wedding ring in the bathrobe pocket so she'd know the hand that killed her was also the hand that loved her. The ring was never recovered. He filled the hole, poured roughly 1 meter of concrete, built the red brick wall, installed new plasterboard. Then he went to the media and performed Grief, the Central Criminal Court, Dublin. Late April 2025. 23 days of testimony, more than 50 witnesses. Richard pleaded not guilty to murder. Prosecutor Geraldine Small called him an arch manipulator, brazen to the end. The forensic case was devastating. Dr. Bolster found no fractures anywhere on Tina's skeleton, no evidence of the violent attack he described. The quicklime search on March 24th was powerful evidence of consciousness of guilt. CCTV and phone data contradicted his Dungarvan alibi, placing him at home in the crucial window. And then there were his own TV appeals, 14 clips played to the jury, where he insisted he loved her and believed she was out there. Those performances now looked like camouflage. Defense counsel Brendan Graham argued lack of intent, that if anything, this was a tragic struggle, not murder. Richard exercised his right not to testify. Tuesday, May 27, 2025, the jury retired. They deliberated 9 hours and 28 minutes over 3 days. Friday, 12:25 p.m. They returned. Guilty of murder, unanimous. Richard showed no emotion. Behind him, Tina's family wept. Mr. Justice Paul McDermott imposed the mandatory sentence, life imprisonment. Outside court, Sarah Howard spoke for the family. Tina was a kind, loving, gentle soul who loved her animals like they loved her. That's how we want her remembered. Today, we finally have justice. When Tina's remains were discovered in October 2023, more than 200 people attended a candlelight vigil in Youghal, many bringing dogs to honor Tina's love for animals. Her ashes were divided, half buried with her brother Tom, half with her grandmother Florence. What solved this case wasn't a stroke of luck, it was persistence. A new SIO, Anne-Marie Toomey, reread the file from scratch. A patient incident room coordinator, Dave Kelleher, finally opened a laptop and found a single search that reframed everything. A forensic archaeologist, Dr. Niamh McCulloch, looked at photographs others had already seen and asked a simple question. Why the new stairs, the plasterboard, the brick wall? Then, finally, someone broke the floor. The picture that emerged was simple and brutal. Tina Satchwell didn't vanish into thin air. She didn't run away with cash in a suitcase. She didn't fly to England for treatment. She died inside her home. And for 6.5 years, the man who buried her performed grief while walking across the concrete that covered her. Tina loved animals, fashion, the sea. She loved her grandmother Florence and never stopped grieving her brother Tom. She was kind and shy and careful with her appearance, a woman who matched her Chihuahua's outfits just for fun. She kept hundreds of clothes not out of vanity, but because the ritual of collecting and reselling made her feel part of something. She deserved better than the life Richard Satchwell controlled. She deserved better than the death he gave her and the grave beneath the stairs where he hid her. She also deserves to be remembered on her own terms, as she truly was. Thanks to a family that refused to stop speaking her name, to investigators who refused to stop digging, literally, Tina is home. Not the home in Youghal where she was silenced, but the resting places she chose, with Tom and with Florence. May her memory be a blessing, and may we never mistake performance for truth again. If Tina's story moved you, share it. It helps keep her memory centered on who she was, not on the man who tried to bury it. Subscribe for more in-depth cases told with dignity for the victims. And if you know someone living behind closed doors with control and fear, reach out. Silence is where stories like this grow.